What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Ramblin Gamers, episode 3. Today, I'm here with the one, the only, Adam. How do I sound, baby?
Whoa, Matt, is that a new mic I hear?
It is a new mic. This is not a sponsored episode by any means, but this is a blue snowball from Target for $49.99. I didn't
Sounds
realize,
good.
guys, that I didn't realize my audio sounded so bad when we initially started this. And then after the first 2 episodes, I was like, I don't want to recommend this to anyone because this hurts to listen to. So I went out and got a mic, and I'm glad it sounds a lot better. And now we can actually advertise our podcast without being embarrassed about my audio.
I think I might want to get a new mic soon. Sometimes my mic peaks too easily and it goes robo mode, which I know our
That's true.
viewers have heard because I forgot to edit it out of the last episode.
Yeah, that's fine though. That kind of goes in theme with what we talk about, like technology, I guess.
Like robots.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, today we're gonna ramble on about the latest video game news, along with several other topics, ranging from our game opinions to news about upcoming nerdy movies and TV shows. If you guys are liking this show, please follow us on Twitter at Instagram at Ramblin Gamers. Also, if you could and you are enjoying this, please share this with a friend who might enjoy what Adam and I sit here and talk about every weekday, or not every weekday, every Tuesday. The more people we get listening, the more likely we are to keep continuing doing this because we're having a lot of fun, even with our 20 views we get on podcasts, and it'd be just really cool to see that grow. So, I guess before we get into the news, how is it going, Adam? How's your week been?
My week's been good. Not a whole lot going on, but pretty relaxed.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the last 2 episodes was the calm before the storm in terms of like video game news. We kind of like had to stretch it out to get like maybe 5 stories, and I mean, you guys can't see it at home, but our Google Doc for each episode, we're down up to like 10 topics today that we're going to try and fit into an hour episode. So we're just going to get right into it with the first one, which is Cyberpunk 2077 being delayed again. From their Twitter, they said, "Hey everyone, today we decided to move the release date of Cyberpunk 2077 by 21 days. The new release date is now December 10th. They also went on to say the biggest challenge for us right now is shipping the game on current gen, next gen, and PC at the same time, which requires us to prepare and test 9 versions of it: Xbox One X, Xbox One compatibility, all of them. I'm not going to state them all, while working from home due to the coronavirus. Since Cyberpunk 2077 evolved towards almost being a next gen title somewhere along the way, we need to make sure everything works well and every version runs smoothly. We're aware it might seem unrealistic when someone says that 21 days can make any difference in such a massive and complex game, but they really do." What do you think about that, Adam?
I mean, I'm not upset about this game being like delayed. Like if they need to do it, they need to do it. I mean, it sucks because it's been delayed so many times and people have
Mhm.
been waiting for it. But like 21 days, dude, like people can wait.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Let me just pull up the history of its delays. I'm pretty sure um it was originally slated to come out in April, and then delayed till September, and then delayed till November, and then delayed till December. So in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, we're gonna have to wait 21 more days to play. I'm definitely excited because it sounds like they're gonna be making sure it's running on the next gen consoles, which I was planning on playing it on anyways. So it's if they can just tweak out a few things and make that game as perfect as it can possibly be, um, that's definitely the way to do it. I don't want to play a broken game, and I don't think anyone else does.
Mhm. There's a statement that one of the developers made that I really like that said they'd rather be ashamed now because they had to like delay it a month than be ashamed later that they released a broken game.
Yeah, that's true. And for a game of their of this size, and we know that CD Project Red, they they release a perfect game and they aren't afraid to delay it games, as they've shown with Cyberpunk. And I mean, they revealed this game in like 2012, and it has, I mean, 8 years they've been working on this game. It's not that big of a deal. It's going to be good to play a polished game, and we know that it's going to be a great game because that's kind of just what we expect from this this developer.
Mhm. So, what are you most looking forward to about Cyberpunk? Because it's like I'm like interested in like the concept, but watching videos, I'm kind of having a hard time getting like excited to play it. But like I really want to play it. So what are you really looking forward to about it?
I'm excited for a first person RPG of because I feel like games of this scale are almost always third person. So just to have that like different kind of just like it's going to be different gameplay. I'm excited for that. Also, I just like cyberpunk theme things. I think that's going to be fun. I like the tech like the futuristic vibe to it. Also, I'm really excited to explore. I think they're called the Badlands in the game, which is the area outside the city, and I know that you can select 3 different classes at the beginning, like how your character like their background, and I think even how you start the game, and one of those is you start as like a hillbilly kinda living outside the city, and I think that's for sure the one I'm gonna select.
Dude, that sounds like me too.
It's just gonna be like, imagine that, like, we've been waiting 8 years for this game, and then just in recent times, it was supposed to come out in April, so we've already waited, like, 7 months. Imagine waiting even longer to finally enter that city while you're playing the game, and stepping into that city for the first time as, like, you're fully immersed in your, like, hillbilly countryman character, walking into that
Mhm.
city and just being like, "Wow, like, this was worth the wait." Obviously, that can go both ways, and we waited 7 months and then also a couple hours of gameplay to finally get into the city, and I'm disappointed with how it looks.
Mhm.
I don't think that's going to happen, but it is something that could. So what about it hasn't really spoke to you?
Um, I don't know. It's like I wanna be interested in like RPGs and stuff like that, like Elder Scrolls and Fallout, but I don't know. They just like playing them, like the gameplay and stuff just doesn't really hold my interest, but I know, like, kinda like the setting and the story of Cyberpunk might be what brings me in.
Yeah, I've felt the same way about certain RPGs in the past where Elder Scrolls is, probably the biggest one that I've skipped out on. Just I've never played Skyrim, I never played Oblivion, and I think the reason behind that is just because it's such an overwhelming game to get into. It's just like, you know
Mhm,
that when you sit down and play that game, you're gonna be playing it for 50 plus hours, and 50 is even a little generous. It's probably gonna be way more than that if you wanna try and see as much of that story as you can. And I know with Skyrim, even to this day, people who play that game pretty consistently, there's still probably things in that game that they haven't seen, and it's gonna be the same for Cyberpunk, I imagine.
alright, well, I am a little more sold now, I have to keep looking into it. So, next on our list, speaking of delayed games, we have Halo Infinite.
Yeah, so Jason Schreier, I believe is how you say it, he wrote for Bloomberg, or he writes for Bloomberg. So Chris Lee oversaw production for Halo Infinite at 343 Industries, which is developing the game for Microsoft, is no longer working on it. He confirmed to Bloomberg News on Wednesday Lee is the second top director on the project to leave in the past 2 years. And let's just get this out to start. Halo Infinite is kind of it's a shit show. It really is.
Mhm.
At the
Y
moment, we should say.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kinda proud of them for realizing they needed to delay the game so it wasn't a launch title, because I could have seen
Mhm.
Microsoft, kinda pushing them to go the way of just having it ready by launch just to sell consoles, like, no regardless of the quality of the game, but I think them kinda recognizing that they need to spend more time on it, I think shows a lot.
I definitely think it's good news that not that this guy's leaving. Honestly, it's kind of sad. I think he's leaving on his own, but if I had to guess, it was more kind of like, hey, this game isn't doing too well. I think it's best you step
Mhm,
down type of thing. So it's unfortunate that, he's losing his job and all that. But it's good that I think that they're really going to take the time to say, hey, this game already missed it already missed the launch window. Us delaying it isn't gonna be the biggest deal in the world. It's better that they at this point, that they just release a game that's good versus releasing a rushed game. Because I just imagine how much they've hyped up Halo Infinite and then basically releasing a
mhm.
game like we saw in July that just did not look very good.
Yeah, and, like fans of Halo have been fans of Halo for a long time. Like they deserve like just an outstanding like next gen Halo with like multiplayer
Mhm.
that just knocks it out of the park, like an amazing story, like good like graphics, like a game that just works.
Especially after Halo 5, which was a massive disappointment to those fans. Uh,
Mhm.
I just all last generation kind of Xbox fans kinda got boned repeatedly by Microsoft,
Yeah.
and it doesn't look like Microsoft is gonna make the same mistakes again, so I'm, like, super excited for that. As an Xbox fan myself, who plans on getting one, I definitely would not want to play a bad Halo game. I'm okay with it getting delayed, um, and I just hope they can hopefully they can work it out and it turns out to be a good game, but I guess with it expecting to with what they had expected it to be a launch game, when do we think this game is actually going to release now?
I could still see them wanting to have it be like a holiday title, so maybe we'll see it like a year from now.
That's See, when they first delayed it, I was thinking, okay, they're delaying it. It's probably going to come out early next year, February, March, or April, or something like that. With this coming out, I'm kind of leaning towards that as well. That at this point, it's having they're having trouble getting this game out. It has having trouble mid midsummer this year. So, like, why
Mhm.
just delay it till the winter, make sure it's polished, make sure it's perfect, and then people like, there's always that holiday hype. If Halo Infinite's coming out a year after consoles lost, it's still gonna have the hype that it always does because it's Halo. It's one of the biggest games of all time. So,
Mhm. And
that's
they
that's my
can
guess as well. I think it's gonna come out holiday 2021. Um, do we think they're gonna be able to turn it around though and make it a good game?
see like I don't know. I could see it going the route of like they just been working on it too long and kind of just want to be done and then just release it still kind of broken.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know if there's kind of like a staff shakeup, maybe they'll bring in someone who wants to come in and really do it right.
Well, yeah, speaking of that as well, they already brought 2 people in, who used to work on the old Halo games when Bungie was still there, so they're former employees of Bungie. So, hopefully I mean, it's not really their vision, this game. Hopefully, they're able to at least right the ship and get out a good game. I personally think the game is gonna be good. I know Microsoft really hasn't done anything to prove to its fans or just, gamers alike that they know they're competent in releasing good games, um, just based on this last generation. I think that I think that this generation they're gonna turn around. I think this is gonna be a top game. They clearly don't care that they delayed it. They're like, "Okay, we're not gonna put a broken thing out there. We're gonna make sure this game is good." And I think they'll spend the time. I could even if it's not good come next holiday, I could see them delaying it further, to be honest with you. I think they're really gonna take
Really.
the time to if it's not I mean, if at this point, if a year from now it's still not doing well, they should consider just selling 343 at that point because they're an incompetent developer at that point. But if I had to guess,
Mhm.
by the time next holiday comes around, it's going to be ready. If it's not, I wouldn't be surprised to see another delay. But I know that they had talked about initially shipping the game without certain aspects of it, like they weren't going to have ray tracing in the game. They were just going to patch in a later update, which is ridiculous. That I couldn't imagine getting a game that was like half half baked basically and then giving us the other half later.
I remember a few months ago reading something that they were gonna ship it like just the multiplayer first, or like just the story
Mhm.
first and not the multiplayer.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah. So I
I
don't know.
couldn't imagine that. If imagine shipping a Halo game without multiplayer.
Yeah. I mean, I could see them doing like it like, like hypothetical. They would do like multiplayer at launch and then maybe like a few months down the line, like have like all the like the story refined and everything and just like kind of like bring that in as like a free update.
I think that's a bad move, especially considering that multiplayer is free. I think a lot of people at that point would be either, "Wow, this multiplayer is really good. I don't wanna pay for this game or play it on Game Pass," or it could go the opposite way. It's like, "Wow, this multiplayer is bad. This story isn't gonna save this multiplayer," which is what I intend on playing most, even if they wanna play
Mhm.
the story. You shouldn't be shipping components of games separate.
Yeah.
Um, that's just a recipe for disaster, and I'm glad that they didn't do that. I
Mhm.
just like imagine getting a game that like imagine getting Smash, okay, and then just being like, hey, here's like the main story where you can unlock all the characters. That's coming out later. Right now, you need to play as like the 8 main characters that come out or whatever, and you can only do it multiplayer with your friends.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very good.
It would suck. Is how Smash works though, by the way, right? That's how you unlock characters.
Um, you So, I mean, in the instance of Ultimate, it's just like there is a story mode that you can unlock characters through, or just by like playing battles. Like every like 10 battles you play, like a random character will appear that you unlock, which I mean, you kind of need the unlock rate to be pretty high in that game because of all the characters you had to unlock.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, Speaking of other delayed games, Destruction All Stars also has been delayed. It was initially slated to be a launch title for the PlayStation 5, and it has now been moved to a February release, with it also being one of the PlayStation Plus free games of the month. What are your thoughts on that?
Mm, I personally am not interested in that game, but them
Hmm.
kind of having like a big multiplayer game at launch, I feel like would have been really strong.
True. One thing that I was kind of concerned about with it coming out at launch is all the big titles coming out. Just you have Demon Souls, you have Spider-Man, you have Cyberpunk, although it's a third party, it's coming out slightly after. And then you also have
Mhm.
the Little Big Planet, Sackboy coming out. And in my opinion, all four of those games are games that I would have rather purchased for $70 before I purchased this one. With them moving this to February, I can guarantee you I'm going to play this game. 100% guarantee I will be playing Destruction All Stars when I would have most likely been skipping out on it.
Was was Destruction All Stars gonna be a PlayStation Plus game initially, or is that coming with the delay?
It's coming with the delay, so you were going to have to spend $70 on this game if you wanted to play it at launch.
But now you get it for free.
If you have PlayStation Plus, yeah. I think it looks like a fun game. I was watching a YouTube video. I wish I could remember who it was. I think it might have been Game Ranks. Um, but they were kind of describing what the game is. And basically, it's just a destruction derby with like operators. So like each different character has a different ability with their car, and I would assume they have a different ability when they're out of their car as well. But my understanding is that it's just a free for all. At least there might be other game modes, but the main game mode that they've been showcasing is just like a free for all or a team game, and it's just a destruction derby. So when your car is gone, you run around and try not to get hit, and then when you get hit and die, I think you're out. That's my understanding of it, and that's like kind of how they portrayed it. I think that sounds like fun. I could definitely see that being a game you get on with like 4 friends and just like team up on that friend
Mhm.
you always pick on and just being fun as long as you're not that friend.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a unique take on those kind of multiplayer games.
Hmm. Yeah, I that's definitely a game now that I will for sure be playing. But speaking of PlayStation Plus games, the November games got announced, and there's Shadow of War got announced. Um, for that's one that's coming out on PlayStation 4. But the other PlayStation 4 game is Hollow Knight Void Heart Edition. And
Dude.
for those of you who aren't aware, the Void Heart Edition is just the port to the consoles. At least that's my understanding. And it also comes with all of the other DLC with it. But
Mhm.
I know that you, Adam, are a big fan of Hollow Knight, and you played it actually while we were roommates together. You played it on the Nintendo Switch, and I'd wake up in the morning, come up, start making my eggs, start making my hash browns. I look over at the couch, and it looked like you had been there all night, and you're just playing Hollow Knight. And I know you didn't, but you are a big fan of that game. So give me sell me on this game right now. Let's just say I'm on the fence of whether I want to waste hard drive space on this game. Sell me on this game. Try and make me download this game.
Dude, every aspect of this game is phenomenal. The music, the atmosphere, like the world design, the cute little like bug creatures. I love this game, but the gameplay is what you need to play it for, dude. It is just so it's kinda, like, challenging to really get a, like, grip of what you're doing, like, traversing the world and then fighting the bosses, which is the kinda, like, the big aspect of that game. Um, and it's kinda challenging. Think, like, Cuphead or Dark Souls where it takes you quite a number of tries to really figure out and, like, get every boss down and, like, get your movements right to just get those hits in. But, like, once you beat the boss, it is incredibly rewarding, satisfying, and that is why I loved that game. I was so addicted to it.
And it's a 2D platformer, correct?
Yes, and like, the fan term that people use for games like this is Metroidvania.
Okay.
'Cause like Metroid and Castlevania are kinda like 2D and you're, like, exploring a world,
Mhm.
uh, and then there's bosses that you fight. But, Hollow Knight is way more heavy on the boss fights than those games are.
Okay. And I know that you and I had talked previously, and you would say that this is one of your, like, top 5 favorite games of all time even.
It is absolutely one of my favorite games of all time,
And,
and
who develops this game?
Team Cherry, it's the only game they've developed. They're an indie
Oh,
studio.
wow. That's impressive.
Mhm.
'Cause I know that this game was kinda met with, like, universal acclaim, like, people love this game, and I like, just doing
Yeah,
some quick scouring of the web when this was announced, it has 90s and above everywhere. 9 out of
uh
10s, 90 out of 100, 4 out of 5s, 5 out of 5s, it's like, t people love this game.
dude, it's crazy. It's like we're over here talking about Halo, which is like kinda not looking very good with like hundreds of developers on it. But Hollow Knight had
Mhm,
I know there's two main guys that work for the company, but there's probably like a couple more on it. But like a relatively small team of people made this like
mhm.
incredible game that I put like 80 hours into.
That's the thing, and I think I have especially realized it over this past year after watching you get addicted to Hollow Knight, playing Hades myself, us both playing Cuphead and talking about it all the time, you playing Celeste, that
Mhm.
it should be a goal of ours to play maybe like an indie game every single month. Like, look for the best one and play it because there's some really good stuff out there that kind of gets buried by these AAA studios. But when we talk about like Hades and Cuphead are two of my favorite games of all time, made by a very small team.
Mhm. And Hollow Knight is very good, and Celeste is also very good. I really enjoyed that game.
So, in other news with Hollow Knight, I know we have talked about this briefly. They are coming out with a sequel at some point, correct?
Yes, they announced a sequel called Silk Song. Uh, they announced it early last year. I wanna say, like, February or March, and then they haven't shown anything of it since then.
Okay. So they're doing the Cuphead DLC treatment.
Oh, yeah, it's coming, and then just no news for 2 years. I
Okay,
mean, it's
it's a
like
smaller studio though, correct? You
it
like
is
you
a
said.
smaller studio, and I
Mhm,
don't wanna be like, on these people, like, "Hey, like, you" maybe they shouldn't have announced it when they did, but
mhm,
I'm just getting a little antsy. I just
exactly.
really wanna play it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the theme of today's episode where we'd rather it be delayed and have it good, but that doesn't change your feeling that like,
Oh,
wow, I want to play this game as soon as possible, but they do need to take their time on it.
mhm, and yeah, I mean, that's a lot easier for the smaller studios, like Team Cherry or, the studio that made Cuphead
Mhm.
in terms of, like, because Cuphead, the game itself was delayed a lot by, like, 2
Yeah.
years, and the DLC was supposed to come out, like like,
I
last
think it was
year.
supposed to come out 2019 and then they delayed it to spring of 2020 and then we just haven't heard. I could have those dates wrong, but it for sure was supposed to
Mhm,
come out this year and it doesn't look like it's going to.
mhm. So, I
But
mean
that makes sense with the type of animation that they do and everything. Um, but correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Hollow Knight's sequel supposed to just be DLC at first?
Uh, probably. That sounds right, like, they were gonna do
Mhm.
DLC. I know they did do a lot of free DLC for Hollow Knight. There was,
Yeah.
like, 3 or 4, expansions that's all within the Void Heart edition. So you
Hmm.
just kind of get all these things at once. So pretty massive game. But that sounds right that they wanted to do a DLC to it, but it kind of expanded it into a bigger game.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that a lot now. When I know it happened with Uncharted 4, where the game was so successful, they were just going to have DLC with Chloe and Nadine, but they just released that smaller spin-off type title that was it was pretty hefty in itself. It was between like 10 and 15 hours or something like that. Um,
Mm.
instead of just releasing DLC. But part of me is wondering if Cuphead's going to go that route too. But that's a conversation for another day. The other PlayStation Plus game that got announced for November, which is out of the ordinary, they normally only have two. But with the PlayStation 5 coming out, they are going to have a PlayStation 5 title. And you know what we're talking about. Bug Snacks. That's what we're talking about. Bug Snacks is going to be free to play if you have PlayStation Plus day one on the PlayStation 5. And I already know your negativity you have towards this game, Adam. This game looks like fun, and I promise I will be playing. It's not going to be the first game I play. It is probably going to be the very last thing I play this holiday season, but I will be playing this game because it looks like, at a very minimum, an enjoyable time.
Okay, I just want to say my negativity for this game doesn't stem from anything rational. I just don't like the food bug creatures. They're just very weird to me.
I don't know anything about these developers. I'm pretty sure they made Octopath. Don't know anything about that game, but I think that game people liked. I would imagine whenever I hear anything about Bug Snacks, I hear these people made Octopath. And you don't normally say that about a game that was bad. You don't go, "Oh, these
Mhm.
people are making this game, but they also made this game." And then you look that game up and it's like, "Wow, this game got 4 out of 10." But
Oh, do you mean
um
Octodad?
was it Octodad? No, you're right. It was Octopath Traveler. That's the game I was thinking about. It's
Yeah.
Octodad. Um, but the thing I hate most about this game is how people are obsessed with the song, and the song is not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a catchy song by a somewhat prominent, like, indie artist, so I wonder if that's why people latched onto it.
It's not good. My favorite thing about the game that I've seen so far is like parents showing their kids, "Hey, look at this game," and the kid going nuts over it because if the fruit has eyes, and I guess it's kind of cute. But I, I'm gonna play it. It looks like fun. The main like animal. I don't know anything about this game. The animal with like the big ass teeth, who has like an Australian accent.
Mhm.
She's annoying. I already don't like her.
So why do you wanna play this game so bad?
I feel like it's partly just because I know it's gonna get made fun of, and I want to be a part of the jokes.
Okay. Now, at first, when I heard that it was gonna be a PlayStation Plus game, I was like,
Uh
"Why
huh.
would they do that?" Because like, people were gonna buy this game anyway,
Yeah.
but now I kinda see it as they're probably gonna get people at launch to subscribe to PS Plus with this game.
Hmm. That's true. Yeah, and also that kind of goes hand in hand with the PlayStation Collection games that are also going to get people to subscribe to PlayStation Plus right at launch of the PlayStation 5. And during that event that they had in September, they had the games that they planned on releasing with it, but Sony just released the full list of games that were coming out. And I'll read them off here from their studios themselves. They have Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Infamous Second Son, Ratchet and Clank, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Until Dawn, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. And then from party publishers, they have Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Zombies Chronicles Edition, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat 10, Persona 5, and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Do any of these games interest you? Are you going to go out and buy a PlayStation 5 day one because of these games?
Because of them, no, but if I get a PS5, um, kinda, like, shortly after launch, like I plan on doing it, I am
Mm-hmm.
definitely probably gonna prioritize playing these games first because I skipped out on the PS4, so I didn't play any of the games on this list that I wanted to play. So,
Mm-hmm.
just having that bargain and them readily available, um, but, like gotta say, like the list it had initially of like the 15 games was like
Uh-huh.
very, very strong. Like I was already
Yeah.
sold. And now they added what are the new ones? I know they added Crash.
Yep,
I know
Crash.
they specified that the Final Fantasy 15 was the Royal Edition that had like all the DLC and stuff, I
Hmm.
think is what that is.
And I
And then
think
I
the Black Ops 3 is also a new one that they added.
mhm.
Which say what you will about that. If you get a PlayStation 5, you and I are going to be playing some Black Ops 3 Zombies because that's a good time with friends. But if you were to, all right, so pick what are the top 5 games on this list?
Okay, so I want
At least top
so
5 games that you want to play that interest you.
yeah, so like from the top of this list that we posted, Detroit
Hmm.
Become Human, which I've already played, but there's a lot of replayability to that game, and I want to play it
Hmm.
again. Um, 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 Crash Bandicoot,
Okay.
Persona 5.
Final Fantasy.
Mm,
Oh wait, Persona 5 is on the list. What the hell? I didn't even see
yeah,
that. I said that. Okay, carry on.
yeah. Uh, Resident Evil 7. What was that for? What did I skip?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm interested in
You skipped a lot of good games.
yeah. I'm interested in Fallout 4. Like I'll play it, but I've heard not the best things about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Monster Hunter.
Yep.
I'm sure I'll play Mortal Kombat X. You know, Mortal Kombat's fun, but it's not like a
Mm-hmm.
system seller for me. Um, Ratchet and Clank. I know you're a huge Ratchet and Clank fan, but
Yep.
I actually
Yep.
watched you play through that game, so I kind of know.
You should still play that game's good.
Yeah,
Dang, okay, I just want to
God
be
of
clear that
War, God of War.
no. Of the top, I asked you a top 5 games you're interested in. You skipped over Bloodborne, God of War, The Last of Us Remastered, and Uncharted 4. You skipped
Well,
over probably the biggest heavy hitters.
you asked me what my top five were for me,
Yeah,
and I gave
you're allowed
you.
to have a top
I
5.
actually gave you like 7 games, but that
And
was
those games weren't included. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. It just surprises me a little bit that God of War didn't make your list at least.
I added it in at the end.
All right, fair enough. All right, I'll give you my top 5 games from these as well. I've actually played quite a few of these games, at least in the top. Um, but The Last Guardian interests me. That game looked like a lot of fun. I don't know too much about it, but I've heard great things about it. Um, Going further down the list, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I almost bought that game, and I'm so glad I didn't. Because now I get to play this trilogy and then buy the 4th one, which looked like a lot of fun. I'm excited for Monster Hunter World. I've never played a Monster Hunter game in my life, but that I think I'm for sure gonna give that one a try. Let's see what else is on here. I've played Uncharted, played Until Dawn. Bloodborne and Days Gone probably just because I'm a Sony pony, so I'll play their first
Sony
party.
pony.
Bloodborne, honest, that game looks fun. I know that game was really popular. Days Gone, I haven't heard great things about, but I'll still give it a shot. But moving on from that, great things going on with PlayStation Plus. They're really it looks like they're kind of challenging Game Pass in whatever way that they can. Game Pass is still a hell of a deal, but they're doing what they can with the type of industry that they run. But this one is this next topic we're gonna get hit on is a little bit more about us. I'm gonna let Adam take the reins on it because it was kind of his idea. So go ahead and take it away, Adam.
So, not really related to any gaming news. We just kind of wanted to talk more about ourselves for people who don't really know who we are. Obviously, our audience seems to be expanding beyond our like friends and family. We just kind of want to kind of talk about how we first really got into gaming by asking the question, "What was your first console?" So, take it away, Matt.
All right, my first console was, and I have to think back. I'm fairly certain it was a PlayStation 2. I got it for Christmas from my dad, and I feel like a lot of people my age, I'm 21 years old, the PlayStation 2 was probably their first console or one of their first. Um, but at that age, I wasn't really much of a I couldn't really do much research on my own for games because I was kind of little. So I would just the only games I'd play, which is whatever my dad would get me, which was typically sports games. So growing up, I played a lot of Madden, I played a lot of FIFA, I played a lot of I think at the time it was MLB 2K, the baseball game from Take Two. Um, but I do remember explicitly a game that I fell in love with and am still in love with is Ratchet and Clank. We had just talked about it briefly, but Ratchet and Clank games hold a special place in my heart. I've played most of them. I know missed out on a couple of the PlayStation 3 ones, but I did play the original trilogy. I played the PlayStation 4 reboot. I had one for the PSP. Don't remember which one it was, but that's kind of how I fell in love with video games, I'd say. I know that's kind of cheesy and corny, but that's definitely what got me interested in video games. And to this day, because of Ratchet and Clank, that's kind of how I grew up to be a fan of PlayStation. Since the PlayStation 2's come out, I've owned every PlayStation. I should be getting the PlayStation 5 on launch. I've had the PSP. The only one I missed out on was the PS Vita. Luckily, that's the only one I missed out on because it doesn't sound like I missed too much. But um, as I got older, I also got kind of interested in Xbox games, and I know around the time the Xbox 360 out, that was definitely my main console. That's how I was playing video games with my friends a lot. But I know Adam has a little different view on video games. He actually got to play good games as a kid, so I'm gonna kind of let him tell his story.
Well, I had a very similar experience with you, except for me, it was Nintendo instead of Sony.
Hmm.
So I first got interested in games going over to like friends' houses and playing the 64. And then when the GameCube came out, I didn't. My parents got one, not like right at launch, but kind of like shortly thereafter.
Hmm.
Um, and I could tell you the two games I had were Super Monkey Ball and Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. Tho-
Okay.
those were my two first games on my own console.
Hmm.
Um, and then from there, I got into Sonic as a kid. I was really into Sonic games. And then combination of getting older and Sonic games starting to be bad, I
Yep.
switched over to more like first party Nintendo stuff. Played like a lot of Mario. Uh, got into like middle school and started playing a lot of Zelda. So I've been sticking with like Nintendo first party games a lot. Got a Wii close to launch, Wii U close to launch, didn't play it. And then I kind of fell out of video games for a little bit, but the Switch has really like brought me back. Like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey made me really, really love playing video games again.
Hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people our age have kind of felt that way because I know around the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One's initial launch, I kind of got out of it. Um, but when I picked up a PlayStation 4, I want to say in the end of 2018, I'm pretty sure Adam was actually there when I got it. I
Mhm.
got really into the first party studios, and I would honestly sit here and say the PlayStation 4 is my favorite console I've ever had, even if I've played it probably the least. Just the games that have come out on it have been top quality compared to PlayStation consoles, at least in the past. I think the PlayStation 4 has had the best lineup. And just another thing I want to add to what I said about Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank left such an impact on me that I still have Ratchet and Clank 2 going commando in my top 10 list. It's actually one of the few PlayStation 2 games I still own. I have Ratchet and Clank, Pac-Man World 2, and Guitar Hero 2. I don't know where the rest are. I have them somewhere, but I those are the three games that I have sitting 4 feet away from me and will play on my PlayStation 2 from time to time. But I know you're kind of a console collector. Tell me all the Nintendo consoles you actually own.
I own every home Nintendo console except for the Virtual Boy, which kind of doesn't really count. Um, I own every handheld too, except for a Game Boy Color, but I have an OG Game Boy and like a GBA, DS, 3DS. Yeah,
It
so
is the Game Boy Color, is that the one that flips?
no, that was the, Game Boy Advanced
Okay.
SP, like the
I
second
had a Game
model.
Boy Advanced.
Mhm, no,
I
the Game
had
Boy Color was like an upgraded version of the original Game Boy that had, like, color in the games.
I remember on the Game Boy Advanced, I had Pac-Man World 2. I had it for 2 consoles. I had it for both the Game Boy Advanced and my PlayStation 2. So,
Yeah.
guess I'm a Bandai Namco fan now. But,
Mhm.
um, I guess moving on, we're gonna end up wrapping this episode up. We actually got through it pretty quick. We have a couple of smaller stories to go through. Just
Yeah,
this morning,
breaking
actually,
news, breaking
yeah,
news.
we just to give you guys a little insight on how our recording goes. We upload every Tuesday. Normally, we hop on either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday to record. And then that gives us time to edit it and get the title and everything sorted out. Hype it up on our Twitter and Instagram at Ramblin Gamers. We have a lead up to each a series of tweets leading up to the the initial upload of the episode. So today, Friday morning, don't know the date. I think it's the 30th. Sony is in final negotiations to purchase Crunchyroll for a whopping $957 million. Adam, you're into anime. I'm not. How does this sound to you?
Now, is anime really worth $957 million?
It's a Sony exclusive. Anime is now a first-person title. How does that sound?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't use Crunchyroll, and I don't really watch that much anime.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
but I know like Crunchyroll is like an app, like it's like a Netflix
Yeah,
basically with just anime where you can download it on like Apple products, your Xbox, your Switch. It's like, what are they gonna do? Are they really gonna take this service away from other consoles?
I think so. I think
That is nuts.
I think they're gonna take it away from a minimum of Microsoft. I think you'll still be able to get it on your phone and everything, so you can like
Mhm.
Chromecast or whatever. But I mean, let's be honest here. Microsoft took Bethesda, which was near and dear to many PlayStation players' hearts. So we're gonna hit them where it hurts and take their waifus away from them.
Wow. I mean, like, God, like, it doesn't affect me at all, but, like, dude,
Mhm.
that's just kinda like that's like Netflix only being available on, like, the Xbox. That's just kinda it's just I don't know, I just feel like it's a service that you should just have ease of access to on, like, any console.
I agree, but we've kinda seen this with Apple TV with their own. They don't let anyone have that. If you wanna watch Apple TV, you need to watch it on an Apple product. With the
Mhm, which
exception
is,
of
like,
actually coming
inconvenient.
to yeah, it's incredibly inconvenient, but, actually fun news, it's actually coming to the PlayStation 5 at some point. I think that's gonna be the only non-Apple product you can watch Apple TV on,
Damn.
or
Crunchyroll
Apple
and
TV
Apple
Plus.
TV?
Yeah, that's they look at that. Look how the tables have turned. Now PlayStation is the home entertainment console. It's not even a game console anymore. Um, but by the way, now that we're already on the I almost said negotiations. Now that we're on the topic of it, have you seen the media remote for the PlayStation 5?
Did they show it have they shown it off previously?
They announced it at that like initial event in June, but they've talked more about it and its price. I want to say it's 29.99 in the US. That I
Mhm.
don't know what it is. I know we have a Singapore listener. I don't know what it is over there. Um, but it comes with preset but so you know how like Roku comes with like Netflix, Hulu, and like 2 other preset buttons? Same thing with
Mhm.
the let me look this up. But it's the same thing with the PS5 media remote. It comes with I wanna say Netflix is one of them. Um, Spotify is another one, which is actually kinda surprising. I was definitely not expecting that. Let me just pull up what the presets are.
See, that's cool because like, I have an Xbox One, but I basically use it as
Mhm.
a media center. Like, I love it as a media
Yeah,
center because it has, like, all of my streaming services and it's a Blu-ray player, um,
including
and I guess
Crunchyroll.
yeah, including Crunchyroll.
Better save onto that. That's gonna be like Flappy Bird. You're gonna be able to sell that Xbox for hundreds of dollars. But the back to the presets. The presets are Disney Plus, Netflix, Spotify, and YouTube. And my understanding is that you will not be able to change them.
Oh, really? I'm surprised Disney Plus is on there, but I
Yeah.
guess it's bound to become, like, one of the biggest streaming services.
Yeah, I actually have, and it's this is a little sneak peek into our next episode. Our next episode is going to be released on the day the Xbox Series X comes out. We have a big episode planned for that. This is probably the one that we put the most time and effort into planning. Normally, we spend about a week planning this. We've been planning this for about 2.5, 3 weeks now, pretty much since we've started doing this podcast. And we have some bold predictions about Sony, Microsoft, and other business giants coming up in that episode. So stay tuned for that. Going back to this current episode, though, current news, Hitman and Control during one of those Nintendo mini directs. Is that what it's like, a partner mini direct? They announced that they're coming to the Switch through cloud gaming. You have a Switch, Adam. Do you plan? Control's out now. Are you going to be playing that game on your
I don't
Switch?
even know what that game is.
Other than it was nominated for Game of the Year, I know nothing about it.
Same. I haven't looked into it, but I guess I saw people were kind of excited to see it. I
Mm-hmm.
was more interested in the partner direct and like the Hyrule Warriors stuff that they showed off that you could play as
Mm-hmm.
the divine beasts and just like roam around the world and mess stuff up.
Yeah. You're getting the. Are
Um,
you gonna get the demo for Hyrule Warriors?
See, I like was thinking about it, but I kind of like I'm already gonna get the game. Like I don't want to play like chapter one now and then like wait 3 weeks to like play the rest of the game. Like I'll just like get
Hmm.
the game when it comes out and just like start from the beginning. But
That's how I've
I'm
always felt
actually
with demos.
like, I mean, it's cool because I know I've seen a lot of people on the fence in terms of like the gameplay of the game. Like they don't
Hmm.
know if like the gameplay is gonna like keep them interested. So it's cool that they released a demo like that to have people try it out. Um,
Yeah, and I know with Hitman and Control, Hitman's coming out sometime later. But Control you can get today, and they actually have like a a little demo you can play. And after the demo's done, it'll give you the option to be like, hey, go to do you want to buy this game or not? So that's cool that you can see how it works, see if your internet's able to keep up with it. My understanding is that the Switch's hardware doesn't really allow for the game to really showcase what it's all about, which is unfortunate and kind of what you get when you get a Switch. Um,
mhm.
but moving on to one of our last stories, Far Cry 6 got delayed. You and I don't have opinions on it. Same kind of thing. I think we don't need to spend too much time on this. Hopefully they can release a good game. Giancarlo Esposito's awesome. That will be the only reason I play that game if I ever decide to play that game. It looks kind of interesting. What are your thoughts on it?
Far Cry is a series that's always like kind of been interesting to me, but I've never really got around to playing just because of like the RPG
Hmm.
gameplay. I think it's really funny. I think it was 5. I liked the setting of that game where it's just kind of like rural America.
Yeah,
Um, but this one also looks pretty sick, but from my understanding, it's kinda like a follow-up to a previous one.
I think it's Far Cry 3 is what people are speculating.
Mhm. Yeah, but, like, as you said, like, the actors in the game and, like, what they showed off, like, graphically, like, it looks cool and, like I mean,
Hmm.
I'm getting more interested in kinda like the RPG gameplay, so, I mean, uh,
Yeah.
why did it get delayed, did they say?
No. I mean, I'm sure they did say. I don't know why off the top of my head, but just to go off the actors, you and I are big Breaking Bad,
Mhm.
Mandalorian fans. Yeah, I know you've watched Better Call Saul. I still haven't gotten around to it. It's cool seeing Giancarlo Esposito do do a lot of cool things that we're interested in: video games, Breaking Bad, and Star Wars. That's sweet. It's cool seeing that.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
Also, I think it kind of leaves the door open for more actors to begin doing motion, yeah, being in more video games, because we saw Norman Reedus do. I couldn't even imagine how long that took him to do Death Stranding. I'm sure that was like a big chunk of his career that year, was doing
Mhm.
all the motion capture for that game. It's interesting to see actors starting to do that because video games do bring a lot of money, and hopefully we can see some actors doing more stuff because they really know what's going on. Obviously, you have people who haven't been actors, such as Nolan North, who does a lot of voice acting, and he was great in the Uncharted series. But it'd be cool to see some of your favorite like big name actors you go and watch. It'd be cool to see like Robert Downey Jr. Be in a video game. That'd be sweet.
Mhm. Yeah, but I mean, like That's kind of like a lot of the game's budget would go to like getting those actors and like mocap.
I mean, true, but think about it's already shown that video games make more money than movies now.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, they do. I don't know, remember the exact amount, and if I'm wrong, please fact check me at Twitter at Ramblin Gamers. But moving on to our final story, this is just a quick one. We talked about this a lot last week. Todd Howard came out and said he talked how he can't see Elder Scrolls 6 not coming to PlayStation 5. To be fair, I think that quote was taken a little out of context. I don't think he necessarily has that much say in it. I think it's all up to Microsoft. Um, but let's just go through. Do you see Elder Scrolls 6 coming to PlayStation 5, Adam?
Um, I don't know. It's kind of hard because like I can't see Elder Scrolls 6 coming at all. Like they announced that game like 2 years ago, and it was just like a picture.
Yeah, and they're still working on Starfield.
Um, but see, that's the thing is it's like it's hard to imagine like Elder Scrolls or Fallout like not being like multi-platform. Like great for Microsoft if they get those as like full on exclusives, but it's just like I don't. It's just kind of weird. But yeah, it's not. It's kind of out of his control.
Yeah, I'm sure he's allowed to ask them like, "Hey, can we not do this?" But um, at the end of the day, I'm sure it's down to the top Xbox and Microsoft executives. I don't see it coming to PlayStation 5, unfortunately. For people who are interested in that, I'm not interested in it particularly, but it sucks for PlayStation fans. But I mean, this is kind of what PlayStation fans get after bragging about their exclusives forever and trying to get holding it over Xbox fans' head to get good exclusives. Now they have them, and gonna have to get an Xbox to play them. But do you have anything more to add, Adam?
Um, no, I do not.
I think that's gonna be it for today's episode. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Ramblin Gamers. Share this with a friend if you enjoy the show. If you do enjoy the show or have suggestions for us, please leave us a suggestion. You can either tweet at us. I have the DMs open on both accounts. If you have topic ideas, please leave them for us. We're willing to we're looking to improve in any way that we can to make this show the best that we can. Tune in next week. We have a very fun show coming up about the next gen consoles. We're very excited to do that. Also, we have some ideas in the works for possibly doing 10-minute reviews of certain games. This wouldn't be a consistent it wouldn't be a consistent show, but it would just be something that we would do after we play a game and we think it should be reviewed on our podcast. It would just be a separate 10-minute episode. If you want to see that, please let us know because we'll definitely do that. But from Ramblin Gamers, I'm Matt. This is Adam. See ya next Tuesday.
See you next week, gamers.